Most Americans want to believe that the United States is the gold standard of clean food. But that belief may not hold up to scrutiny. From unsanitary practices in mass production to the addition of dangerous chemicals, countries have good reason to give the side eye to imported foods claiming to be USDA approved. That's right, this week we're talking about American foods that have been banned.
What is going down, world? Welcome to the 40-year-old FUQ Boys podcast. Go by the name Black Pegasus. And this is a different type of reaction, but needed. And I like doing different stuff on the channel. Hopefully you guys like different stuff too. Now that beginning, I already know that, man. I ain't never thought America, well, yeah, I did. But the gold standard of food with what I know these days, sheesh, get out of here. I gotta source my food from ranchers and cattlemen just to dodge so many chemicals and so many drugs that they try to put in these animals and into the food supply. It's crazy. And I saw this video. And I was like, dude, it's titled American Foods That Are Banned in Other Countries. Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Maybe there's some that I don't know of. I know a good amount. They spray like all this stuff like Europe. It's crazy because they spray all this stuff on our food that they don't in Europe. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And you wonder, you look at our population, Americans are, I'm not, but Americans in general, a little overweight, a little this, a little that. I'm just trying to save you, man. I just want to see you live. Anyways, hey, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's get this one going.
40-year-old boys are back in town. 40. Boys are back in town. 40-year-old boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. 40-year-old FUQ Boys podcast. Malt liquor for your ears. 40.
All right, y'all, let me get this logo down and pull the video up. Don't forget, support the original content on the channel. Just dropped a new music video, Ugly Boys. It's doing well. That's thanks to you guys. But I'm dropping another music video in January. Today was BJJ. It's a flip on Ice Cube's Today Was a Good Day to BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's going to be fun. Check it out. Show some love. Now, I do some original pieces and more commentary like this from time to time, right, where it's not just reacting to music. But, yeah, man, I got some vlogs, some food challenges, a bunch of stuff on the channel. So support it, and I'm going to figure out 2024, man, I'm going to come up with some original content that I can be consistent with, and it can become a pillar of the channel. Anyways, let's do this, man. The intro is bonkers, so let's go. Let's just bring it back a little.
Most Americans want to believe that the United States is the gold standard of clean food. But that belief may not hold up to scrutiny. From unsanitary practices in mass production to the addition of dangerous chemicals, countries have good reason to give the side eye to imported foods claiming to be USDA approved. That's right, this week we're talking about American foods that have been banned by other countries. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. Then leave a comment and tell us what other world food facts you would like to know more about. Now let's see how wrong the rest of the world really is. Since the dawn of Skittles, there have been rumors about the dangers of eating them. Every one of us heard at least one classmate claim that the red ones make you sterile, and the yellow ones, they give you cancer. Turns out, it might be worse than that. First of all, your classmate wasn't wrong. The dyes known as Yellow 5 and Yellow 6 have been linked to hives and hyperactivity in children. Sweden and Norway have banned the candies out of concern. The European Union will most likely be banning Skittles at the end of the year, having already swapped out some of the dye for more natural flavors. This is because of something called titanium dioxide, which can be found making the colors pop across the rainbow. Research linked titanium dioxide to damaged DNA, which can lead to cancer. While Europe may be ahead of the Skittles awareness curve, America is quickly catching up. In May of 2021, the Environmental Working Group asked the FDA to categorize titanium dioxide as toxic. And yes, before you ask, right now the FDA says it's okay to consume some of that chemical compound. You can taste the rainbow, but just in moderation. California is home to an ongoing lawsuit against Mars Inc., the parent company of Skittles. The lawsuit claims Skittles are not only toxic, but are unfit for human consumption. So maybe for now, play it safe. Just go have some Swedish fish instead.
Yo, That's crazy. Now, when they said that, man, there's yellow 5 in Mountain Dew. I remember that because I put it in a rap song called Verbal Pastime. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is what, but so for people who want to be healthy, right? This is a rule of thumb. When you look at the ingredients of everything, the less ingredients there are, the better, right? So you want to spend most of your time in like these produce sections and where you can get real food is what they call it, right? Fruits, vegetables, meat, stuff like that, right? Then when you start going into like the cheeses or processed meats, the least amount of ingredients, right? The least processing, the most organic, grass-fed. These are things you want to lead into to dodge a lot of this nonsense. You know, you wonder why you got this uptick of unhealth in America, and we saw it in 2020 because we're a first world nation, but the Rona attacked a specific type of people, which was typically elderly and unhealthy, not just unhealthy elderly, but I'm saying unhealthy, like obese people, unhealthy, and, you know, elderly. 3 different categories. That's what got hit the hardest. That's just the truth. Man, food is information, you guys. What you want to program your body to do. Bread, sliced bread.
Ever looked at a piece of crusty French baguette, be it in cartoon or in real life, but let's be honest, it was probably in the hands of Pepe Le Pew, and think, I can't make a sandwich with that? As great as we talk about the invention of sliced bread, a lot of European countries have actually banned much of what you'd find on America's wide grocer shelves. That's because we make a lot of our bread not just with grain, but with a variety snap packs worth of additives. Like azodicarbonamide, for example, which helps bleach flour and strengthen dough. Fun fact about azodicarbonamide, it's also used in a spectrum of industrial products, including yoga mats. Downward dogs. The European Union is really against the idea of its citizens eating yoga mat material and has banned their use in food products.
So just to tap into that real quick, I noticed this because every now and then me and the family will go on cruises, like Carnival Cruise, and you can tell they're sourcing their food from Europe because they have these amazing like dinners and buffets. And I was like, I'll eat the bread. I'm like, why don't I feel bloated? And why don't I feel this? You know, it's funny. They mentioned that one thing about bread, but I just saw Gary Brecka talk about this on Joe Rogan that I guess all bread in America, or for most of it, gets sprayed with riboflavin or something like that. I forget for why. And he was just talking about how our body has trouble processing, or 50% of people can't process it because of this, that, and the other. And then he starts talking about methylates and all. It's above my pay grade. But that's why I typically, man, all these diets are like, oh, paleo or keto, or because what do? They typically cut out carbs, which the carbs are bread and blah, blah, blah. I'll still eat potatoes and rice and stuff like that. But typically, like, when you go on these diets, it's because, bread is like you're going to take a L. Eating bread, you're going to take a L.
If consumed in large enough quantities. But it is a small price to pay for a perfect piece of the pork.
That's something I didn't know. What I do know, just with meats in general, you want to try to get nitrate-free meat. That's going to, you want a grass-fed. And you can't say, like, how they'd be like all natural or antibiotic-free. They flip it, like it might say antibiotic free, but then they'll just be like, oh, we gave them medicine, right? We didn't give them antibiotics. We just gave them medicine. It's weird. So, I try to go to Ranchers Direct for all our stuff. We, for pork, we haven't really, we get our beef, but that's tricky. I did not know that. I got to look into that to see if that's on the ingredients when you're looking at like bacon and stuff like that. But that's sheesh, no nitrates though. So that's at least kind of in the healthy direction. Jeez.
Hygiene in America often comes down to dousing stuff in a chlorine bath and calling it FDA approved, and chicken is no exception. Pathogen reduction treatments, or PRTs, refer to the use of different chemicals to destroy harmful microbes on raw meat. Somewhere along the line, American food regulators decided a quick chlorine shock was the best way to kill salmonella and other bacteria on uncooked poultry. Chlorine marinade. And look, it's not that the EU is against taking a long gulp from the public pool now and then. In fact, the risks posed by chlorine consumption are relatively low. The bigger concern is that the chlorine baths are just an eye-burning band-aid on a larger problem, the tip of the beak, so to speak. They're worried that the PRTs are insufficient to deal with more than just the normal bacteria and don't get at a potential contamination from things like low-quality feed to unsanitary coops on farms. The EU called the chlorine rinse an easy fix, arguing no chemical rinse will ever remove all bacteria from meat heavily contaminated as a result of poor hygiene. That hurts extra to hear it from the French.
Oh, snap. Here we go. I already talked about Mountain Dew. Yeah, with the chicken stuff, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I wonder if they do that because we try to do organic, cage-free, but I don't even know if that matters. They just do stuff to the food. This is why people are This is actually kind of flustering. Like, this is actually, I mean, I know all this stuff. I don't know it, so let me be humble. I know this type of stuff is happening, but when you see like the exact stuff, I wasn't aware of it being that specific. I didn't know that they were freaking dousing chickens in chlorine. I didn't know that. That's wow. I know that they have to give these chickens a lot of different medicines and antibiotics because they get so sick in going through the process of being raised, because animals aren't made to be harvested, okay? They're made to live, and then in our ecosystem, they get eaten at some point, typically, because we have an ecosystem and everything feeds off of something. But they're not meant to be harvested like plants, and that's what they're trying to do with these factories. It's like, cookie cutter, but they try to harvest animals. And because animals aren't made to be harvested, they get sick. And that's a really sad life, because I'm just like, yo, man, a chicken should be able to go out and chill, live his life, and then people should be able to eat the chicken too. I'm not like straight all vegan, but when you see them just cooped up in like in a warehouse for their whole life, that is actually low-key really sad. That's really sad.
Mountain Dew is the closest any soft drink has come to being fully weaponized. But did you know in Austria and Norway, the soda is outright banned? That's because Mountain Dew's signature Chernobyl radiant hue comes from tartrazine, also known as yellow 5. And if your ADHD hasn't kicked in yet, you'll remember that color and number from the Skittles section earlier. It's been linked to headaches, hyperactivity, and the desire to be annoying to other people. Ironically, the qualities that make Mountain Dew a soda non gratis in other countries is exactly what the brand promotes: a frenetic, over-caffeinated lifestyle. Do the Dew. Baja Blast. Woo-hoo. And while you might be able to find Mountain Dew in Europe, it's going to hit a little different. That's because Europe spent exactly 2 years in the 90s riding the dew before discontinuing it. What is being sold as Mountain Dew in the EU has a recipe closer to the original carbonated beverage, as created by Tennessee beverage bottlers Barney and Ollie Hartman in the 1940s. The original Mountain Dew was meant as a whiskey mixer, with a name coming from the affectionate Scottish term for moonshine.
Damn.
It'll tickle your innards, is what the old ads used to read. No lies detected here.
Yahoo! Mountain Dew!
That's crazy. I told y'all, yellow 5.
Little Debbie has been providing Americans with comfort snack food since the 1960s,
Hey.
with their variety of zebra cakes, star crunches, nutty bars, fudge rounds, and cosmic brownies. But their big claim to fame, as anyone who has ever had their lunch packed by a parent can attest, is the Little Debbie Swiss Rolls, a mixture of rich chocolate cake and butter-creamy filling.
I never liked
Over
those.
900 million cartons of Little Debbie products are shipped each year, but none of those cartons go anywhere near Austria or Norway.
Okay.
Blame those rascally additives, yellow 5 and red 40. Swiss rolls contain 32 milligrams of dye per product, and in those quantities, they've been shown to have an adverse effect on children. And we're not just talking about causing hyperactivity, although one study found that cutting all artificial food coloring from diets may be 1/2 as effective as prescribing kids Ritalin. And while we can't prove there's a direct connection between artificial food coloring and cancer, they do cause damage to white blood cells, causing them to mutate after only 3 hours. Exposure to these dyes could cause tumor cells to multiply way more rapidly. For that reason, researchers say a high chronic intake of food colorings throughout the entire life is not advisable. If only they weren't so delicious. Surprisingly, you can buy Little Debbie's Swiss rolls in the EU, but they come with warning labels advising parents of the potential dangers to kids. Like cigarettes.
crazy. I love it, man. I mean, the thing is, I'm very proud of like America and what we built and a lot of things we have. You know, y'all know that on the channel, but this is one thing I'm not proud of. And this is one of the things been exacerbated in our country. And you guys know this. You know, it's food, it's the prison system, it's the war complex, the war industrial complex, and pharmaceuticals. Weaponized. It's crazy. That's the truth. And look at this. This is wild stuff. This is wild stuff. I'm surprised it's on YouTube, to be honest. Surprised.
When you hear the words banned breakfast cereal, you're probably imagining one of the countless kid-focused brands of sugary morsels, like the oh-so-delicious Cookie Crisp. So you might be surprised to learn that it's actually Special K, the most boring cereal on all of the earth, that has been banned in Denmark and discouraged in the EU. How does the healthiest box of flakes on the shelf get banned, while stuff like Reese's Puffs and Cinnamon Toast Crunch continue to enjoy free passage? Ironically, because of its supposed health benefits. In the UK, Special K has been put on blast by the Advertising Standards Authority for exaggerating how much folic acid they pack into portions. Though it's still legal to buy in Europe, Denmark has completely banned Special K since 2004 for all its fortified vitamins and minerals. Regulators argue that Kellogg's cereal's unnaturally high levels of everything from vitamin A to zinc actually qualify Special K as a genetically modified organism, or GMO. More specifically, Special K is swole with the same artificial compounds that studies have shown to potentially pose health risks, specifically to children and pregnant women. In conclusion, you may want to stick with crunch berries.
Don't surprise me. Don't surprise me.
You don't need to take a transcontinental flight to visit countries that have banned American foods. Just drive up to the Canadian border, flash your passport, and sign an affidavit saying you're not smuggling any steak tartare in your trunk. Today, consuming raw meat has fallen out of fashion in the US, much like other foods like veal and pate, which don't make you sick but might make you sad. But while baby cow and overstuffed goose liver is illegal in parts of America now, tartare is not. See, while veal and pate may be uncool, they are also served hot. Unlike tartare, which is chopped up cold meat, straight from the cow. Undercooked or raw foods can lead to an increase in food poisoning and parasitic infections, especially in beef and poultry. But considering how fancy pants steak tartare is, Titanic food one might say, you'd think countries might look the other way and let the luxury delicacy slide. And for a long time they did. In Canada, meat has to reach an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit, the equivalent of a medium rare steak, in order to be considered safe to serve. But those rules aren't strictly enforced. That is, until recently. In 2021, restaurant owners in New Brunswick selling steak tartare were all served cease and desist letters. Canadian public health officials had decided that amid the ongoing health crisis of COVID-19, the last thing their citizens needed was a side order of botulism.
All right, I don't know about that one. I don't know. You're seeing all these people rise with the whole, Liver King stuff, and I don't know. I'm sure, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think cooking food has its benefits. I think eating raw food has its benefits if it's clean. I don't know enough about it. I don't know if I'm sold on that one. I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of different things these days. I got a homie at my gym. He just walked in and he was just eating raw hamburger meat. I was like, what is that, bro? It's like, it's hamburger. I'm like, you're eating it raw. And he's like, all these benefits. So I don't know. I know the Liver King does it. I don't know. I'm just going to say I don't know because I honestly don't. But that one, they didn't talk about all the hormones, the that's in beef, the nitrates, the this, the coloring, that, because when it's not organic or grass-fed, they're recoloring it to look redder and look fresher, all this stuff. I'm like, yo, y'all really talking about tartar and raw meat, and you ain't even talking about all the different things they're doing to the meat? I mean, you talked about the chicken, so I thought that was unique anyway.
Is there anything more American than Coca-Cola? The fizz, the flavor, the former secret ingredient, cocaine.
Hey!
Coke is basically apple pie in beverage form. And it's not just Americans who are cuckoo for Coke. Invented by a pharmacist in 1886 Georgia, Coca-Cola quickly caught on overseas. It was the World War II GI's drink of choice. Pre-pandemic, Coca-Cola had 500 brands in over 200 countries, making it the best-selling soft drink and one of the most recognizable brands of all time. But there will always be exceptions, and unlike the other entries on the list, for once it has nothing to do with health concerns. Everybody knows that Coke is not good for you. We just decided collectively that we don't care. No, the countries that have outlawed the brand have done so because of what it represents, a symbol of the encroachment of American capitalism. From 1962 to 2011, the U.S. banned sales of Coke to Burma as part of sanctions against the military junta that ruled the country until 2011. It resumed sales in the country in 2012. Today, Coca-Cola is only unavailable in 2 countries with long-term trade embargoes with the U.S. North Korea hasn't allowed Coke since 1950, and the bubbly beverage has been banned in Cuba since Fidel Castro seized supplies in 1962. First the prequels, now Coke. Is there anything that can't be ruined by the federalization of trade taxation? In a twist of irony and lime, Cuba was actually one of the first bottlers of the beverage outside of America. Today, Cuba Cola has replaced Coke as the country's soft drink of choice, though black market sales abound. After all, it is the birthplace of the Cuba Libre, aka the rum and Coke.
That's corny. Dude, get off. That's corny. Coca-Cola is so bad for you, you guys. It's just funny. They're like, oh, capitalist, da-da-da-da. One of the things that made the most innovation in the world and created this, that, and the other, but it's all bad. I get frustrated with how much. We got to have a balanced conversation about capitalism. Bruh, they're tripping.
M&M's, the delicious melt-in-your-mouth, not-in-your-hand snacks, were originally a collaboration between the Science Sons of the Mars and Hershey dynasties in 1941. Like Coca-Cola, M&M's gained international fans during World War II, as American soldiers popularized the candy overseas as the chocolate that won't get your trigger finger all sticky. But you won't find the candy in Sweden, where it's banned due to a trademark conflict with a popular national candy that also features lowercase m's as its signature. When Mars introduced the candy to Sweden in 2009, a court ruled its marketing too similar to that of the Norwegian Marabous, which resemble Kit Kats. During World War I, Marabou had moved its manufacturing to its Swedish neighbors, where it received a royal warrant of appointment by the King of Sweden. And here we thought the Swiss were the chocolate snobs. Should you want to check out what the fuss is all about, Marabou's is sold in IKEA stores here in the U.S. Well, at least it's good to know that M&M's don't contain any harmful dyes or chlorine residue, right? That's a pretty important victory for hard-shelled chocolate. So what do you think? Which of these banned foods sounds the most delicious? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from Weird History Food.
That's crazy. You seeing that? It said foods that are banned in America, and you see raw milk. I don't even know if I can talk about that on YouTube, but my daughter drinks raw goat's milk, and like all of the homies have a cow share, and they drink raw cow's milk. And from what I've seen, it's that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm going to say. This weird world we living in is wacky. And that was a good one, man. Dang, there's some stuff in there that I did not know, and I just learned today. So, hey, I'm here for it, man. Let me know what you guys think of that. And my thing is this. When I learn something, I correct course. Like, you know, I'm in a family where we try to eat all organic, 80-20, right? We have a little bit of fun here and there, but I don't drink energy drinks. I don't drink sodas, bruh. There's so many healthy alternatives in America. That's what's crazy. From candy to sodas with stevia, it's interesting. But I don't think the population is catching on to that, nor do they care. Hey, just a simple man. I like beans and rice. Let me know what you thought. Like, share, comment, subscribe. 40.
Thank you for being some man. 40 years down the road, back again. FUQ boy.